the topic for tonight, 10 quilting problems solved with 3 solutions. Ruler quilting, walking foot quilting, and free motion quilting. Hey, Lois, it's been a long time. How are you? So glad that you're here. Welcome, welcome. Yes, you remember when we named it, yeah, date night. I love the phrase. It really says a lot, right? So, before I get to that, wait a minute. What about this? How about I ask you? Do you want to see the new and improved feathered rainbow quilt, which is the feather class that I'm teaching next week? Do you want to see the new and improved freshly made Lone Star, also for a class that I'm teaching next week? Or do you first want to go over the 10 problems with the solutions? Raise your hand. Now, I have to warn you, the 10 problems and the solutions, it's a quiz. Yeah, it's a quiz, but it's multiple choice. It's multiple choice. I don't know who this is. I didn't think I would get a phone call while I was online because my brother is on his way. He's traveling. So I said, you know what? He's not going to call me tonight, so my phone shouldn't ring. But it still does. All right. Who else is here? Hey, Terry, welcome. So glad that you're here from Northern California. Sunny, sunny, sunny. So, vote. Are we going to do the 10 problems with the solutions? It's a quiz and the conversation, right? Or are we going to see some quilts for inspiration first? You want both, huh? You want both, Deanna. Okay. Hello, Wilda. Wilda's here. Hello, Wilda. It's so good to see everyone tonight. All right. So, I don't see any votes yet. Am I going to decide? Do I decide? Huh? Yay. All right. So, the first one to comment, 10 problems, quiz, or quilts. Ah, Deanna, she's the first one. So, it's going to be the quiz first. All right. The quiz first. So, why are we even talking about this? We're talking about this because when I'm putting together a new class and refreshing an older class and putting together material, what you know from the last time we were together, I talked about that in May. The whole month of May was me putting together 8 classes, right? 6 of them brand new, and then some refresh from the 2 that are coming up. And in doing so, I ask a lot of questions that I think you would ask or problems that you want solved. So, this is how, this came about. And so, what is the first question? It has to do with machine quilting. First of all, it's all about machine quilting because you know that's my passion. Free motion quilting, ruler quilting, right? And I do a little bit of walking foot quilting, but not often, right? But still, that's where many of us started. How many of you started with walking foot quilting first? This is not the quiz. I'm just curious. Raise your hand in the chat. Did you start quilting your projects with walking foot quilting? I know I did. That's how I began. Yes. 906 says she did. Deanna waves her hand. Yes. Okay, good. So here's the first question. What technique helps solve uneven stitch length when quilting straight lines? Now, when we say quilting, right, we're talking about the quilt sandwich. What technique of the 3 help you with uneven stitch length? A, walking foot quilting, B, free motion quilting, or C, ruler quilting? When we start quilting, we don't want those layers to shift. And we, especially if we're on a home machine, we are concerned about uneven stitching, uneven stitch lengths. So we have A, says Deanna. A says 906. All right, Lori says A. And the answer is, who guessed it? You all did. You all guessed it. The answer is A. Having a walking foot or on a minimum dual feed helps all three of those layers move in unison, which helps maintain even stitching. And we want that. When we first start, if we're a beginner, we think, well, we can just use our regular foot the same way we piece or sew pieces of fabric together. But we need, with that bulk of an upper layer, batting, which could be cotton, polyester, all types of batting. And then the back, we need to have a walking foot or dual feed so that everything moves in unison. That's one problem that a lot of ladies have. But maybe you also know that you still can have problems with a walking foot. What other challenge do you have with a walking foot that's a problem associated with uneven stitching? It's the way we install and use the walking foot. Who knows? Who knows what is one of the challenges that's easily fixed, but often as a new quilter, we don't know that it matters. Who knows? Who knows the answer to that? So if you are using a walking foot or dual feed, there's a setting on your machine that you have to adjust so that you maintain Deanna, yes, that's it, 906. And Deanna's exactly pressure, foot pressure. We have to release some of that pressure. Whoops, wrong one. I meant this one here. If it's too much pressure, that causes friction and problems with the dual feet and or walking foot. We have to release some of that pressure. Also, if the pressure is too strong, it pushes the fabric wrap too much. So we want to always check that. All right, let's go to number 2. Let's remove this answer. And we need question number 2. Let's see how this is going to work. Remove 1. All right, let's add number 2. What technique helps prevent fabric layers from shifting or puckering? We talked about that a little bit. I already gave you lots of hints for this one. Have you had problems with puckering, with the fabric shifting? Yes, I have, right? So we know doing what with what technique we're using to eliminate the puckering. Again, the answer is correct, Deanna. It is A. It can prevent the layers from shifting or puckering. Now, can the layers shift or pucker with free motion and ruler quilting? Who knows? Yes, 906, you are correct. Walking foot quilting. Deanna says yes. We can still have puckering and shifting of the fabric with both techniques, with free motion and ruler quilting. All right, let's see how smart you ladies are. Do you know how to solve that problem? How do you reduce puckering or the shifting of the fabric if you're doing free motion quilting or ruler quilting? Who knows one solution for free motion and who knows one solution for ruler quilting? What will reduce puckering and the shifting of the fabric while you're quilting? Who knows? Slow down. That's a good one. Okay. What else? Who knows? Yes, Deanna, basting. How we baste our quilt. Did you know that it matters if you are a pin baster, what direction you pin? Think about the grain of fabric. Which way do you want to pin based on the grain of fabric? If you're a pin baster, do you want to pin with the straight of grain? Do you want to pin with the cross grain or do you want to pin on the bias? Which one would you think would give you puckers and which one is likely not to give you puckers? Deanna says, oh, didn't know that. Yeah. Are you thinking about it? Which one? Did I say A for the answer for number 2? Yes. Okay. Let's see. Straight of grain. All right. Go with the grain. We want to go with, right? The grain that has the least amount of stretch. So if you are pinning on the bias, you can pin and pull the fabric. And then when you pull out the pin, the fabric now has extra give and a pleat can happen, especially if you're pulling out the pin where there's quilting in that area on of the left and right side. And now all of a sudden, this fabric that was stretched is now, boom, it now will have a pleat or a pucker. So 906 said, slow down. That's true. There's one other thing, especially with free motion quilting, that can cause pleating or shifting or puckering, and it has to do with our hands. If you are free motion quilting on a domestic machine, sit down machine, and you are moving the fabric, your hands are moving the fabric. What can happen with the fabric if we pull and stretch the fabric, right? We are doing what I call sometimes a death grip because we want to control the fabric, but we have applied too much pressure or we've pushed down too much to try and control it, to flatten out the fabric. That can cause the fabric to start shifting and migrating. Has this happened to you? Where you've come to the edge of a quilt or to the edge of a block, you've done a lot of meander, and then all of a sudden, all the fabric is bunching up in one corner. And part of that, there's a lot of reasons that can happen, but one reason is a result of applying too much hand pressure on the fabric. All right. Next question. Are you ready for the next question? Let's go. We got to move a little bit faster here. Let me remove number 2 and give you number 3. Which technique allows you to quilt in all directions and create curves and organic shapes? Walking foot quilting, free motion quilting, or ruler quilting? And how does this solve a problem? One of the problems that we have is being creative with machine quilting. We don't want to stitch the same thing over and over again. And sometimes we have to learn another skill in order to add more creativity. And one of those things is stitching curves, right? So B, Lori is correct. 906 is correct. B is the answer. Correct. That is correct. That's one of the, I think, for me at least, I went from walking foot to free motion. How many of you started with free motion? Did you start with free motion, then go to free motion? Or did you start with walking foot and go straight to ruler quilting? I'm actually curious. So we can stitch curves and organic shapes. These are the two that go together. Not just curves alone, because you can do that with ruler quilting, but organic shapes, free motion. Curves and organic, all free motion, right? I did the same thing. Walking foot, free motion, then ruler quilting. Yep, me too. Awesome. Deanna, too, is headed in that direction. Awesome. All right. Next. Okay, number 3. And then here's number 4. What technique helps you to quilt precise shapes like circles and arcs and lines? If you've ever tried, and I have tried to stitch a straight line with free motion, even with a walking foot, sometimes a straight line comes out crooked, right? But with free motion, I tried to stitch a straight line. I practiced that over and over again. I've gotten better, but there's always a little wiggle. Ruler quilting. Yes, C is the answer. Ruler quilting. Yep. Ruler quilting. Exactly. I tried before ruler quilting was available for domestic machines. I tried as much as I could to stitch straight, and that would be like stitching in the ditch, free motion. I practiced that over and over again. All right, let's go to the next question. How does this solve a problem? Before I move on. The problem is the creativity. We want to be more creative, and we can feel, I shouldn't say, no, let me back up. Creativity is not the problem. It's the lack of creativity that we get limited when we only have access to one technique that has limits. It can't do everything. Once we start to add multiple techniques, the door to creativity swings open. We have more options. I think that's why we each want to learn different techniques, right? So free motion quilting solves a creativity problem. It opens us to more opportunities to be creative. So that's the problem it solves. So what about this one? Number 5, which technique teaches you to coordinate hand needle movement for better control? Hand and needle movement for better control. Now, if you're on a machine that's on a frame for free motion quilting or ruler quilting, you are moving the machine and thereby moving the needle. But if you're on a domestic machine, we're moving the fabric, not necessarily the needle. So for number 5, could we have 2 answers? What do you think? Is it 2 or 1? It could be all. It could be 1, all the above, none of the above, or just 1. I love ruler quilting too, Lois. It's one of my favorites. I love it. It changed the way I quilt. Ruler quilting has. So yes, ruler quilting, B and C, free motion and ruler quilting both help us control more of what we quilt and how we quilt it. We have more options. When we only have one option, we are limited with what we can do. And we want to break away that barrier, right? We want to break away from that. At least I do. Raise your hand if that's you too. I think it is. I think it is too. So, all right. I guess I didn't do an answer for that one. Well, let's do number 6. Which technique helps you master thread tension, breaks, and skipped stitches? Are these problems that you have? Problems with thread tension, thread breaks, skipped stitches? I can raise my hand for that. For almost every project, I am tackling one of these 3. Yes. Which one? Is it all of the above? Is it A and B and C, or just one? 906 says B and C. B and C. Deanna says B and C. So, are you ladies saying that it's less likely to have these problems with a walking foot? Less likely to have skip stitches? Have you ever had skip stitches on a walking foot? Or thread breaks? Or, I guess the real question is, do these techniques cause tension problems? Do they cause thread breaks? Do they cause skip stitches? They help master, but the issue still happens. Correct. Not as many, though, says 906. True, I would agree with that. With the walking foot, not as many. But all 3 help us master these problems because they always happen. This is one of those problems that will never go away. I should say these are tension, always going to be a problem. And since it is always going to be a problem, guess what? We are going to master tension because we're going to learn how to fix it when we're using a walking foot, whether we're doing free motion or ruler quilting. Skip stitches or breaking thread, always going to happen. The more it happens, the more we learn how to resolve it, right? Yes, it's all 3. All 3 will help us master, or all the above. Whoops, not A, B, or C. I should say all. There we go. All. So true. So don't panic when these things happen. Embrace it as an opportunity to get better in learning how to resolve it. That's what you want to do. Oh, my thread is breaking. Yay! I know we don't usually say that, right? We are kind of frustrated. We want it to always work. But we learn how to fix it quickly the more often it happens, right? So, all right, ladies. Light bulb. Okay, 906, what do you mean light bulb? Light bulb. What was the light bulb moment for you in that discussion about thread tension, thread breaks, and skip stitches? Meanwhile, as you write your answer, I'm going to go to question number 7. What technique has more creativity and design possibilities when you're feeling stuck? Oh, wonderful. 906, you know how to check tension. Fantastic. Deanna says B. All right, think about it. Think a little bit more. What technique has more creativity and design possibilities when you're feeling stuck? So, the first thing you want to ask yourself is why do you feel stuck? What is the reason for feeling stuck? Is it because you have a limited library of designs that you know how to stitch? Are you stuck because you have limited skills on the technique? What opens up more possibilities? Creativity and possibilities when you're feeling stuck. And this actually, I think, is going to pertain to where you individually are as a quilter. Because we have the power to be unstuck by what? Learning a new technique, which gives us more possibilities, learning new designs with that technique, right? Yes, that is true. 906, it is a tough one because I think it's personal. It's not a blanket answer. It's not a blanket answer. I'm going to say, and maybe you agree, that the answer is all of them. All of them have the potential of creating numerous designs. What makes me stuck is learning the design technique, learning more about free motion quilting, learning more about ruler quilting, and then learning more designs, learning more techniques within, like for instance, ruler quilting has several different ways in which you can use acrylic rulers. There's not just one way. There are different types of rulers that do different things. Yes, that's another good point, Lois, is once we have skills with walking foot, free motion, and ruler quilting, we can combine those. That now exponentially increases our creativity. We can start putting together the things that we know to make something new, combining techniques for sure. All right, let's move on to the next one. We're almost done. Number 8. What quilting method is best for quilts when you need to reduce bulk under the machine arm? This is especially important for those with a home machine. If you don't have a sit-down long arm or a long arm on a frame, we have a small space between the needle and the back of the machine. Which technique would be better to use when you have limited space for your quilt? Which technique? Walking foot, free motion, or ruler quilting? Have you tried stitching with all these techniques? Which one have you tried stitching, say, a queen size quilt on a home machine? And as you were doing it, which technique do you wish you knew how to do, or which one did you use? Did you use a walking foot? And how did you manage the quilt? All the bulk. Did you quilt a queen size quilt with free motion? What happened? Was it better than the walking foot, and why? What about ruler quilting? I'm curious, what do you think is the best technique when you have a big quilt on a home machine? Because we face that problem. If you only have a home machine, we face that problem. And if you're having a problem with managing a big quilt, maybe it's learning a new technique to help manage it. So Deanna says B and C. Why do you say B and C? Free motion and ruler quilting would be better than walking foot. What is the challenge with a walking foot? So 906 says, I have done a queen size quilt on a vintage Singer 301. Small throat for sure. With both free motion and ruler quilting. The only drawback from the ruler quilting is the size of the template. Yes, if the template is too big or it's long, it can be a challenge. I definitely agree with that. I agree with that. Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer or do you like free motion and ruler quilting and just stay away from walking foot? 906. You got it, Deanna. You can only go in one direction. Exactly. So you're constantly turning the quilt and trying to stuff it in that small 7-inch space. And quickly your shoulders are hurting, your back is aching, and you think, oh, I can't wait till this is done. Correct, correct. So yeah, B and C. B and C is the answer. They both still have challenges, but we learn to manage those challenges and we can manage the bulk underneath our machine with multiple techniques. One, we can use a suspension system to help deal with the weight. We can quilt it in what I call one quadrant at a time, always the lower right quadrant. I start there, then I turn the quilt and I stitch the next lower right quadrant until I've stitched all 4 quadrants. That's a way to do it. And with free motion and ruler quilting, we can do that and still stitch our desired design. Yes, and we do puddle the quilt. I never roll it up like a what's that dessert? The one that has the chocolate cake and the cream in the middle where you roll it. Don't make those. Don't make your quilt into a roll. It makes it too heavy. Correct, correct. All right. We have 2 more questions. Ah, that's it. Swiss cake roll. Thank you. Correct. Let's see. So, number 9. What technique helps improve accuracy when quilting straight or curved lines? I think this is an easy one. Everyone must know this one. It increases accuracy. Deanna, I love those too. They are delicious, huh? Yeah, I have a sweet tooth. I need to stay away from that. That's why I've gotten so chubby lately. Sweet tooth. Ruler quilting, correct. C for ruler quilting. That is correct, ladies. Yes. Now, as we're answering these questions and you think about the challenges that you have with machine quilting, and you don't have the free motion quilting skills that you want or the ruler quilting skills that you desire, that just means one of a couple of different things, right? It means either one, you have to learn the technique. You can do it yourself. Watch videos on YouTube. You can go take a class. You can in person. You can sign up for an online class. Maybe you are already ruler quilting, but you have these rulers and you still haven't figured out actually how to use them, or they intimidate you. Maybe you need to learn how to use the lines, the reference lines on the ruler to make more designs. You only have like 3 designs you can make with one ruler and you want to learn more designs. that's up to you to evaluate what you want to do to solve these problems, these creative problems, right? Hello. So glad that you're here. Welcome. You're welcome. So glad that you're here. All right, the last question, number 10. Number 10, what technique helps build confidence and reduce the fear of ruining your quilt top? Okay, I can raise both hands for that. Can I be honest? I'm always concerned about picking the wrong design for a quilt, ruining my quilt top, wondering, did I pick the right thread color, the right thread weight? What technique builds your confidence and reduces your fear of ruining the quilt top? Deanna says, I think all of them. Why do you think that? Why? I want to know why. For some, ruler quilting, like Lois, has changed the way they quilt. They were limited with free motion quilting. Maybe they didn't like free motion. Maybe they didn't have many designs. But ruler quilting opened up a whole new world of new designs. And so that's wonderful. I am one who is excited about and always will use ruler quilting in some way. So I'm curious, why would all of these increase your confidence and reduce your fear of ruining your quilt top? Each method, we become more confident that we're not going to ruin the quilt. Okay. But it still doesn't say what was the shift. What caused you to be more confident? It's not the method alone, right? All right, let's see. Okay, 906. That's a good answer. Each time you can be successful with the technique. Yes. Deanna, yes, 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 yes. Practice, practice, practice. It will make you more confident when you practice and when you are successful. So the more we quilt, which is good news, right? The more we quilt, the more success we're going to have. Yes, exactly, exactly. So, let's see. I'm going to do that and do that. There we go. So, why did we jump on the bandwagon when it came to machine quilting? One, we love quilting, right? We want to finish our projects. Yes, we can go to a long armor, but we also, many of us, enjoy quilting our own projects. And we love the techniques of walking foot quilting. Free motion, is my favorite. Ruler quilting is another favorite. We can combine all three, even decorative machine quilting, using the decorative stitches on our machine, and embroidery, which is now a new technique that I'm learning how to use machine embroidery with an embroidery machine and add it to my quilt projects. All of these techniques expand our creativity. And the only way for us to get better at any of these is first to learn the technique, embrace the challenges that come with it, like tension and thread breaks and all those things, so that we become masters of troubleshooting, so that we can have success and not be afraid when the thread breaks or when the tension is off, because we've done it so many times over and over. We can learn how to fix the problem, right? Design creativity, being able to stitch beautiful designs with acrylic ruler quilting, adding both free motion and ruler quilting together. Each of these gives us so many opportunities to express our individual creativity, and the combinations are limitless, right? And over time, you begin to develop your own style of what you prefer, right? Remember, I've always said you want to have a library of go-to designs, things that you know because you practice. So you're always going to stitch that because that gives you consistent confidence because you know that you get good results with that library of go-to designs. Then remember what I said, we're always adding something new. We're going to stitch what we know, say 90%. We're going to add something that we're practicing, that we've just learned, whether it's feathers or spirals and free motion, or if you're just learning free motion and you're doing a meander, add that meander everywhere as you still use your walking foot so that you can improve with your free motion confidence. Then you're going to add a little bit of something that's brand new. So something you know, something you're practicing, and something that's brand new. If you do that consistently over time, your library of go-to designs is going to increase. The things that you incorporate creatively is going to increase little by little. There's no way we can do this overnight. It's step by step by step. And that's why I love to share and help ladies grow step by step. And one of those designs that many of us want to learn are feathers. If you've moved from free motion quilting, from walking for quilting to free motion, you've done stippling, you've done some spirals, you've done other designs, and now you want to do more. Feathers that was that journey for me. I wanted to learn feathers after years of stippling, and I'm so glad I did the stippling because I was more confident and ready to start doing feathers. And so this is the brand new quilt. Remember, I told you I refreshed all my classes, and this is a brand new quilt, and it's another version of the feathered rainbow. If you didn't see the original feathered rainbow is this one. And so this is the class that I've been teaching for several years. And I said, you know what? It's time to make this quilt again and quilt it differently. So I always like to do things at least 2 to 3 times, but challenge myself with a new technique or a new design use of the technique. In this case, it's free motion and specifically feathers. And so here's a close-up of the new one where I've incorporated some ruler quilting as well. Let me go back to the first one real quick. This one has ruler quilting too. Do you see the circles? The circles along the seam? Yep. Ruler quilting with free motion feathers running in a spiral pattern. In this instance, zigzag with straight lines. If you are new to ruler quilting, master the straight edge ruler. There's so many things that you can do with a straight edge that will complement free motion quilting. Even if you combine basic stippling with straight edge ruler quilting, the two will exponentially increase your design possibilities. So thank you. I'm glad you like it. All right. Thank you so much, Lori. And then these classes are being taught next week virtually through the virtual schoolhouse with Quilt Fest. And I can't wait. I know several of you are coming and we're going to have a great time. And this is a new Lone Star quilt with some different techniques. And I'm going to talk about not only the new techniques, but also the mistakes that I made. I made some choices, and some of those choices caused a problem, and those problems got compounded. And now I think it's a fantastic example to share with my students. And so I can't wait to share that next week. Some of you are going to be there, and I'll share that so that what mistakes I made, you can avoid. You can avoid. Yay, Deanna, I can't wait. It's going to be fun. Thank you, 906. I'm glad that you like it. Thank you. Thank you. So this is the whole quilt. And not only do I challenge myself with every project, and I share this with you to encourage you to do the same, is that when I'm making something a second time, I'm not only choosing different machine quilting techniques and different ways in which I can use that same technique, like free motion or ruler quilting, but also I will challenge myself with the choices of fabric and the background colors and that kind of thing. So I did that with this. This is very different than what I've done in the past with a Lone Star. Different for me, right? We are all on our own journey. So the last thing I want to talk about is if many of you are new here, and we meet here on the third Friday of the month, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully you'll come back and join us. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you won't forget a month from now and then miss out on the live conversation. But every month on my website, because not only do I teach in person and teach virtually, I have online classes. And these online classes are to help you solve those problems. And we've talked about how machine quilting, whether it's free motion or ruler quilting, which are my specialties, I do walking foot, but I don't teach walking foot quilting. If you want to get better at free motion or ruler quilting, go check out my online classes. Lori will put a link in the chat so you can go see. Many of you ladies are already in the alphabet design course. Many of you are already in some of my project-based classes. Every month, though, I always have a course of the month. And for the month of June, it has been the Curve Ruler Quilting Challenge. I'm going to go to my overhead camera. Maybe some of you own this kit. It's called Curves and Clams. It's a Bernina kit. It has 4 acrylic rulers, ovals, this S curve, the squiggle, and the clamshell. But also some of you might own these separately. If you get the full kit, they give you this booklet with different design options, which is all good, right? Some instruction, basic instruction on how to stitch out some designs. Some of you are already in my Curves and Clams challenge. I have a curve challenge on my website. I put the link in the chat. You can go check that out. All 4 of these rulers have a separate course where I teach 3 different designs for each of the rulers. But it's not only about teaching a design. It's about teaching you how to use the specific ruler, how to read the lines on the ruler so that you can create more on your own. So when I create designs, I start by sketching. And this is an example of me sketching out designs and all the different things that I have to share in the video course. So I wanted to show you that I have pages and pages with notes on how I create designs. All right, and then put them in a course so that you can do the same thing. Now, you don't have to do this. This is the hard work. You get to do the easy work by just watching me show you how to do it, right? Here's the S curve. and you think, okay, how do I stitch with that? How do I use this vertical line and horizontal line to create this design? This is one of the designs that you will learn with the S curve. This is number 2, made with this ruler. And this is the third one, all with the S curve. Then, if you have the whole kit, you might want to get all 4, but if you only have a specific ruler or you're only interested in, say, the oval, then you just get the oval ruler. This has 4 different sizes. Notice how different this ruler is compared to this one. Very different. The way you use it is different. I show you how to use these lines on the ruler, how to use multiple sizes together so that you can make designs like this, designs like this one, which is one of my favorites, continuous stitching of ovals without breaking thread, beautiful edge-to-edge design, and then this one not only uses the ovals, but it uses the outside edge of the ruler. So that's the oval. Everyone loves a clamshell. Again, we have reference lines and how do we use them? It can be confusing. I break it down step by step. Clamshell based design, another clamshell based design. All right, let's see what's happening here in the chat. So good to see everyone. It is so true. I am glad you found me too. Welcome. I love having new ladies come in for date night. Wonderful. Oh, there goes Rochelle. Rochelle's here. Hey, Rochelle. Awesome. Oh, Lori, thank you for mentioning that we do have a Quilt Conversations live community. There are ladies right now in the Zoom room watching together. We have a watch party. So they're in there watching. And then after the show is over, I go into the Zoom room and we chat some more. So here is another clamshell design. And if you are interested in being in the community, just again, go to the website and look for the Quilt Conversations Live community to find out how to be a part of the community. We are now doing a quilt along. We're all making a quilt together. And we have a monthly Zoom meeting in addition to the watch. So they have the watch party where they're watching Quilt Conversations live together in Zoom. And then we meet once a month on Zoom on a Saturday. So this is the next ruler. Kind of strange looking, isn't it? It has some reference lines. What do they mean? How do we use them to create beautiful designs? You will not have to get the paper and the pencil and start figuring out how to design because I help you get started. And I show you exactly how to make these designs. All right, so these are the courses of the month. They are discounted for the whole month. You get to watch it over and over again, right? Also made with this ruler. Beautiful edge-to-edge design, right? So go check that out. If you want to get better at designing with rulers, check out not only this Curving Clams Ruler Challenge, but also check out the other ruler quilting classes. Specifically, if you are brand new, first thing you want to do is take the entry course, how to set up your machine for acrylic ruler quilting. It not only talks about how to set up the machine, but guess what we talk about? Tension. We talk about skip stitches. We talk about how to set up your machine, the specific settings on your machine. And it doesn't matter what machine you have. I go over both, long arm and domestic. Every machine has the same thing. Tension, bobbin, top thread. You may have your settings, the way you set it up differently, but it's still the same thing. You might do electronics or you might do a knob, but they both are controlling the foot pressure, right? So we go through all of that. Ladies, it's been fantastic. The time has flown by. Um, Let me share this last bit of encouragement. One of the last things with our 10 problems and solutions with 3 different techniques came down to practice, building our confidence, taking time. And I know a lot of us live busy lives. That's why I've created not only in-person and virtual and video-based classes that you can watch, the videos you can watch over and over. I give you all these options because we need those options in this hectic life that we all live. But we also need to find a way to slowly build that confidence over time. And when you saw these samples, I started off on paper, right? Then I went to this. Then I went to even a bigger quilt sandwich. Once I became more confident, not only just using the acrylic ruler, but in stitching the specific design, I needed confidence to say, yes, I can stitch that design, but now can I put it in something like this? I go from paper to small quilt sandwich to a fabric panel. Most often before I even get to a quilt. Remember we talked about that fear of ruining a quilt? I have a quilt that I didn't plan. I just started quilting it. And it may be in like 8 years ago now, maybe even more. And that quilt is sitting inside a bin because I'm still picking out the stitches that I didn't like. I don't want you to do that. I want you to build your confidence slowly. This is an example of what the video looks like that you're going to see when you take the curves and clams class. Several of you are already in this, and if you haven't started, get started, right? Maybe for the summer, you're looking for a project, something to help you push your creativity to the next level. It could be any type of class, right? Okay, it's sleeping, sleeping, sleeping. It could be, I want to learn by the end of the summer how to set up my machine for free motion quilting or ruler quilting. Or I want to learn how to use a straight edge ruler. Here's the same quilt panel stitched with ovals. Same quilt panel. And it's the same design that we saw earlier that was the small sample. Here is, let's see if I can find the next one. Is it this one? Oh, that's the curve. Oops, this is not what I want. This is the one I want. Okay. Same quilt panel again, but now stitched with a different ruler. This is how we slowly build our creativity. All right? Step by step by step by step. And so remember, I said that I stitched the designs out in this small sample first after working on paper. From there, I went to these. Step by step by step. All right, ladies, I think we are over on our time by a few minutes. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight for a Friday night date. And if you're new here, I'm so glad that you came and that you spent time with us. I hope this has been helpful for you. Don't keep it a secret. You are welcome back. Subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, check out the website for any of the resources that can help you solve those problems, help you get to where you individually want to go in your journey as a quilter. We all have our own stitching lane, right? What's next for you? I want to help you get there. All right, ladies, I'm going to say good night. Thank you, Lori, for the reminder. We meet on the third Friday. The next one is July 18th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're welcome, Deanna. You're welcome. You're welcome, Lois. Nice to have you back again. And Terry, if you're still here, so glad that you were able to pop in from Northern California. And Rochelle, you made it. Don't worry about being late. You made it. Awesome. Yes. All right, ladies. Good night. I'll see you soon. Take care.